Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minutes!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Forever, the show that chose to analyse these movies 3 days a week, thus saving us both and the world from boredom. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am cowering in utter terror upon realising what film we have to cover next season. It's me, Niall McGowan.
I think you'll find, Niall, you're actually elated, because the next movie is a corker, right?
Oh, I mean, I'll get over it when we get into it, but it is just like, because this is like the proper last week of like straight footage, it's like, yeah, there's no more good Batman for a while. It's just like, the next one's just like, well, that's going to be a year of my life doing something, but...
Hey, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Don't put it down. It's going to be a laugh.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great season of the show. Everyone's going to have a good time making fun, but not in a nasty way.
Well, we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, it's going to be light-hearted fun. But we're still in this movie, which is seemingly having a bit of a renaissance at the moment.
Yeah.
People seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, crazy.
And we are joined by our returning guest. You may remember them, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else. We have filmmaker Natasha Kermani.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me back.
Hey, oh, no problem at all. Thank you for coming back.
Of course.
It's weird because this is like last week of proper footage, but it's like, oh, there's a lot going on in this week as well. Like, there's absolutely tons of stuff to get into because, like,
the whole movie is packed from just wall to wall, but this last few minutes are really, really, really something else. So,
well, I think I've mentioned this before on the show. Like, prior to starting this season, I didn't realize like how packed the movie is. I felt that even though it's technically a really long film, it felt like it was a tight hour and 20 or something. But I suppose that really depends on how well you resonate with the kind of the 60s sort of vibe it's going for, the silliness.
Yeah, it seems like a real left turn, you know, after we were just talking about the Tim Burton 2 that it comes from, and then it goes completely in a different direction. It's like a whiplash effect, you know? Like, whoa, where are we now?
Although that was, again, well, actually, in particular, coming up this week, because there's a healthy dollop of Burton in these minutes in particular. But it was weird because I was reading during the week an interview with Michael Goff from just when Batman Forever came out, because we've joked the entire season about like, yeah, a Tim Burton production. Like, I'm sure he was just like, yeah, do whatever you want. Just kind of wandered away, just like, I'm done. I'm just out of here. And he probably never even saw the movie or something. But Michael Goff was saying like, no, Tim Burton was down on this set like quite a bit. Like he would wander in and just check out how things were going, and he actually was like not hands on, but he did have a vested interest in Batman Forever. Like he actually was interested to see what Joel Schumacher was doing. Like not so much with the next one.
Well, I think he chose him. Didn't Tim Burton choose Joel Schumacher from the list of directors? I may be misremembering that tidbit of information.
Yeah, that seems to be it. Yeah, it was Joel Schumacher popped up, and he himself like was saying like, I won't do it if Tim says no as well. Like those guys are tight. So, well, they were tight, but
I think it makes sense though. Like when you see, say, Lost Boys or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Flatliners just connects instantly into Batman Forever. It's like, actually, it's the same guy. Yeah. So.
Very good point. Yeah. Does make sense.
I didn't even think about Flatliners. I completely forget about that movie, even though I like it. I think this is a rare case where I haven't seen the remake, but I keep thinking of the remake when someone says Flatline. I haven't even watched it.
That's forgetting there was a remake of Flatliners.
I didn't even know that. That's so funny. I had no idea.
It was like a big old cast too. It was like Ellen Page, Kiersey Clemens,
What?
that guy from Rogue One. And it's like, yeah, there's a whole big bunch of like, oh, those are well-known actors. And it's just like, yeah, nobody saw it. Nobody cared.
Wow, that completely passed me by. I had no idea. Wow.
And you're the kind of person they should be trying to woo.
I know.
Sure.
I'm their target audience, and I completely missed it. So, yeah, something didn't connect there.
Oh, well, something that will connect is this minute with everyone, I'm sure. It's minute 115. And it starts with the biggest question of all. And it ends with a nod to the aforementioned Mr. Burton.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to get to that.
But we do start with the Riddler. We're back here with him. He's on the way out. He looks like he's about to just drop dead at any second. You see more of his sort of deformed face after whatever the hell that tower's done to
I've
him.
actually got here, I'll put it in the Skype chat, because you can get, this makeup was done by Rick Baker, the great Rick Baker.
Rick Baker.
I think the angles here, I don't know if it was a deliberate thing where they're like, we're trying to tone things down, so could we not have him look like, because even they did like original makeup tests for Two-Face where like it was like a really dark red color and it looked better, but it was like way less, it was much more intense, and you're like, oh, I get why they went kind of more cartoony, because they're like, well, that looks terrifying, so we don't want to have that in the movie the whole way. So I'm curious to like whether Rick Baker came in with this and they're like, that's great, but it's a bit much, so could we maybe angle it so you don't see how bad his face is and stuff? And but I'll see if is this the right one? I'm hoping so. Boop, boop, boop.
And you're sharing the original design?
Oh no, it's just it's just him, Jim Carrey in the makeup chair here.
Oh.
But you can see, you get more detail on like how grotesque he actually did look and stuff.
I mean, I remember being very disturbed by this, and even now as an adult watching it, it's very upsetting because Jim Carrey is a lunatic, obviously, but he's really making it very scary. It's very dark.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
You get how much, like, it's really, like, his whole chin's elongated. The mask is probably melted into the side of his face. His entire ear has gone down on one side. Like, it's really, really messed him up.
So what is it that happened to him? So he was kind of like fried by the box, right? Like the electricity, or I don't know what actually happened to him.
I think it's supposed to be that he just had too much input. Like it's like Johnny Five overloading. He uses too much input. And
Well, that's the way we were going, wasn't it? Last week we thought, well, he's been pumped full of too much knowledge at once.
I see.
But it's like messed him up and twisted him.
It's even kind of got his face, like, because even the way his chin is, like, that looks like old comic book Joker. Like, that's the way he would, like, if you wanted to do the Joker accurately, you'd have his chin. Actually, I think we may have talked about it way back in season 1, but I think they were going to Jack Nicholson. Yeah, we're going to elongate your chin as well. But he had the whole thing where apparently Jack Nicholson was allergic to spirit gum. So they're like,
that's what he says.
Yeah, it's just like, you're going to have to figure out something else. It's just like, you imagine the clout though, because again, I'm not a filmmaker myself, Natasha. I don't know if you would have the same attitude, but like, I had a thing, it's like, I need this special effect to work. And then the actor was like, well, I'm allergic to the thing you'd have to put on me. I'd be like, oh, I'll get somebody else then.
Yeah.
I'm
Jack
so
Nicholson,
ruthless with
man.
it. I guess they can't do that with Jack Nicholson because he's like, I'm Jack Nicholson, right?
Yeah, I think Jack Nicholson
Yeah.
can say whatever he wants regarding his allergies, and I wouldn't have much to say about it. But yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. And it's a little bit Elephant Man-y, It's like this sort of deformed thing. And I always thought it was so cool because to me it was like, oh, we're finally seeing the Riddler in his final form. This is kind of the conclusion of his evolution from the beginning when he's got that like really silly red hair, long haircut kind of thing. And then all the way to the end of this movie is like he's really been through a physical journey. So yeah, I just think it's kind of
And a
fun.
mental one.
Yes. Although he's pretty unhinged from the beginning.
That is our criticism of him. He should start off a bit more like he's just smart and he's got a good idea and Bruce won't get involved in it. So it kind of drives him over the edge. Whereas it's a bit like The Shining, going back to Jack Nicholson. He's crazy from minute one, which is kind of a problem really when you think about it.
It's true. Yeah, he just might not be as murderous. But he is always crazy. Yeah.
Although the one thing, like, I talk about, like, him reaching his final form. Because I've always been I've never been a fan of mid-movie Riddler, where he's just got the little green mask and the spandex and stuff. I just think that looks too silly for.
No, I love that.
But I just keep thinking, thinking back to old school Edward Nygma. It's like, yeah, he was a guy who had glasses. Like, is he wearing contacts here? Could they have done a thing like, in the original comics, like the Riddler had a purple mask and he always had completely white eyes. Mm-hmm. So they could have had a thing. Maybe he showed up and he had question mark contact lenses or something.
Ooh.
And then whenever the box warps his whole head, he's got completely white eyes because the lenses have melted onto his eyeball or something.
God.
That's amazing. But I think that Jim Carrey's performance is so insane. If he also had question mark eyeballs, it would be unwatchable.
Oh, I've seen people with weird contact lenses in. I could imagine him having question mark.
Frequent guest of the show, Kit Flemons, just constantly. Well, every time you see him, it's like, what the hell's going on with these eyes, man? What are you doing?
So cool.
What are you doing this week? In a great way.
Literally, one eye will be a lizard, the other will be... He's like freaking Charles Dance in Last Action Hero or something.
Yes! we need to cover that minute by minute.
No.
But,
yes, please.
Speaking of his acting, actually, I love it. I love this line he delivers. He's like, "Why can't I kill you?" And it's like, dude, you've had 6 million chances to get it done and dusted, and you've done the typical Bond villain thing of just not doing it. Just shoot the man.
Well, that was one question I had, actually, is because we know what's coming up the rest of the week, Edward Nygma's thoughts are kind of out the window. He's getting the thoughts of other people in there. And... because he didn't try to kill Batman in the climax. He was going to kill Chase and Robin, but he wasn't going to kill Batman. But one person who was always trying to kill Batman was Two-Face, and he had his classic "Why can't you just die?" and stuff like that. I'm wondering if that's a Two-Face thing that he's got going through his head. He has his brainwaves in there. He's got everybody's brainwaves going through his head. So that might be now he has literally become deformed on one side of his face, like Two-Face. He's evoking a Two-Faced thought of why can't I just kill you? When he wasn't even in the previous scene. I don't think he really was trying to kill Batman. He was just...
Oh my God. I love it. I love it.
And that's kind of sad, too. It's a little bit tragic. Edward has been completely, removed, and now he's just full of other people's thoughts. It's sort of tragic.
And we keep saying how Two-Face and Riddler should have turned on each other. And that could have been the catalyst in a way. He could have found out, Edward, you're stealing my thoughts?
Yeah.
My memories?
I imagine he probably was getting he got a little hit of him way back in the beginning when he was first pitching the box. He put
Does anybody else feel like a fried egg?
Exactly, yeah. And then we're getting back to the old throwback then of too many questions. There's too many questions and stuff. And you don't know, is that part of Bruce Wayne's thoughts or is that part of Edward Nygma's thoughts of remembering that was the thing that he said to him? He's just all over the place, this guy.
He is. And Batman, though, here, I really like him because he feels sorry for Edward. You can see it. He's a good guy after all, The look on his face. This is the best acting he's done in some ways. It's very subtle. But you fully get what he's going for. He's like, oh, this poor, wretched creature before me.
Yeah.
It's poor Edward.
Yeah.
Now, here's a question, though, Natasha. I don't know how aware... You probably have seen it, actually, ironically enough, in the last 2 weeks, because it's bubbled up as a topic of conversation again. But are you aware of the deleted scenes from Batman Forever?
Oh, my gosh. Am I ever? Are you referring to the giant life-size bat? Human-sized bat?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I did watch it this week, actually. And was not disappointed.
That's a good, weirdly enough, it's one of these things now since Joel Schumacher's died and the Snyder Cut's it is coming out eventually. There's a lot of talk about what we've been saying, ironically enough, the entire season, the Red Book edition, where you could slot all those deleted scenes back in.
I would like to think we started the ball rolling in this.
Definitely. Well, they say the whole cut is darker. They say the whole original, it was 2 hours and 40 minutes, almost 3 hours long, apparently.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing, though, because there's a lot of, like, I think it was Mark Bedard said, he was doing one of those things, like, I know a guy who said to me this thing. And it's like, he says there's an extra 70-odd minutes. It's like, it's nowhere near 70 minutes. Like, I've read the scripts and stuff. It's like, I've seen the deleted scenes. I know what they cut. It ain't 70 minutes. But it's like, him saying that and then started the ball rolling. And you get sort of kind of lazy journalists then coming out going like, oh man, there's a scene where like Batman fights a giant bat. And I was like, he doesn't fight a bat.
No.
Like, he just appears in front of him. It's like, oh, you see Two-Face escaping from Arkham. It's like, no, you go in after Two-Face's escape from. You don't see him actually leave the friggin' building and stuff. But yeah, through a lot of that though, because we've been going through all the stuff that they deleted, slotting it back in as the show has gone on. Batman's line to the Riddler now. Would you have any idea what he's actually saying without the context of the stuff they took out? Because
wait, Batman's line?
Yeah, him saying like I'm Batman now because not because I have to be, but because I choose
to be. Right.
No, it doesn't make as much sense.
No.
But at the same time, I adore the line in general, knowing what I know, because it's the character turning a corner. You know, because he might not know who Bruce really is, but now he's saying, like, I've got a shot at least building that. And we know the context of all this, but maybe if you didn't, does it still play? I don't know.
Well, I think the theme of the movie is duality, right? Like, that's why they choose Two-Face as the secondary villain, and, you know, they have the Chase Meridian character talking about the psychology of it. I mean, I think that even if you don't know the whole thing about him forgetting who he was and blah, 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 I think you still understand that there's tension and that he's, like, sort of drawn to be just Bruce and not Batman, you know, or just Batman and not Bruce. So I do think it's there thematically. I don't know if it really works.
I think it kind of works better from the last two movies. Like, because this Bruce seems a lot more well-adjusted in some ways. He seems more like a normal human being. Whereas Michael Keaton was completely screwed up and wasn't a man. He was so just
great.
The Bat.
He's so great. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, because if you do have, then, all the Red Book stuff in, this, not only is this, like, this line works way better, because it's essentially addressing the fact that, like, Bruce Wayne was Batman because he subconsciously suppressed the fact that he was blaming himself for his parents' death. And then through finding the Red Book, he realized, no, it was like he's seen the continuation of his father's last diary entry. And he's like, oh no, it wasn't my fault. But now he is going like, well, I don't feel the psychotic compulsion to be Batman anymore. That's not a thing I have to do, but I am choosing to do it. And it works great in that way. It also, to me, weirdly justifies his character in Batman and Robin. Because, you know, then Batman and Robin's just like a kind of yuck fest, where it's just like, hey, that's just, you know, hello, Freeze, I'm Batman. And he's just sort of like...
He's trying out a new persona. Like, this is Bruce, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I think it's because he doesn't have the drive anymore. Because if you look at what's going on, it's like, well, the first movie, he was he knew the face of his parents' killer. It was Jack Napier, but he didn't know it was Jack Napier until he saw him. But he's like, I've got to go and avenge my parents' murder. And then when he kills the Joker, he does. Then in the second movie, he's like, he can't quite get over it, and he's just sort of, he's still obsessed with being Batman. He's out there doing it, and then he has a little glint of hope with Selena Kyle. It doesn't work out. And then this movie, he is saying earlier on, it's like, yeah, you'll go out looking for another face and another, and your whole life will become consumed by revenge, and you won't know why. But then at the, you know, if you take the Red Book stuff into account, he does know why. With the help of Chase Meridian, he gets over his compulsion to be Batman, and he just chooses to do it. So he's going out then in the fourth movie, just like, yeah, this is just my hobby now. Like, I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm better. I got over it. Like, so yeah, I'm not like, oh, I must avenge my parents' death. It's just like, yeah, that's a thing I do now, and it's, you know, it's just a habit I'm stuck in. So
I guess that's healthier. I guess. To choose to go off in a black rubber suit rather than being compelled to do so. Yeah, I guess that's a improvement in his sort of psychological well-being. I buy that. I buy that.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
And I like here as well, when he's saying that line, you know, I am both Bruce Wayne and Batman. as he's saying it, his eyes sort of open wide, and I thought that was really cute because it's like it's a big revelation to himself too. Like while he's saying it, it's literally just come to him in this second. It wasn't a planned speech. He's like, "Oh my god, yeah, I can be these two people."
Yeah,
I don't know if he's really answering Edward's question, though.
No, not at all.
I think he's really sidestepping the issue, you know?
Like a good politician.
Right. Right.
He's saying what he wants to say, despite the question.
Right. Yeah, I do find myself with this movie really wondering what would have happened if Tim Burton had properly finished the trilogy, because I'm sure you know, I think Selena Kyle was going to be in it. There was going to be a little bit more of a narrative through line, and I do find myself sort of, you know, bemoaning the fact that we don't have that complete trilogy.
Hey, well, Keaton's coming back, so, you know.
That's what they say. Yeah.
Could be just one of those things where, like, Tim, we'll give you whatever you want. Just come and make another movie. But
I would love that.
would
Then
love
again,
that.
I say that, right? But Tim Burton lately, he's not... I don't want to be mean. He's not been as hot, shall we say.
I think if you got him back in, like, the Batman Returns mode, though, where you're just like... Because Batman Returns, like, we talked about it a lot. Obviously, you were here for some of it.
It's one of my favorites.
But it's just the fact that it's like, that is such a weird movie. And it's just a guy just left with, like, huge budget, do whatever you want. Yeah, all of a sudden now we got mutant babies thrown in the sewer and penguins with rockets in their backs and stuff. And it's great. So if you give him that kind of thing, it's like, if they come out and formally go, we're sorry for criticizing you back in the day. Do more of that. Like,
but limit his CG though. Be like, look, you can only have 10% of your CG budget. You have to go back to doing things practically, and then we'll have something awesome. Yeah, no 3D nonsense,
Totally.
None of that. Just make a cool third Batman movie. That's what we want.
Well, those bloody Wonderland movies.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's just CG, and I don't want to just diss CG left and right. I don't want to be that person, but. They look terrible. They really do, don't they? They look awful.
That's the thing. The rumor is now, though, that it's like, well, it's going to be Batman Beyond, but it will be Batgirl. So it won't be Terry McGinnis. It'll be Barbara Gordon, and it'll be Michael Keaton's old Bruce Wayne.
Oh, is he like training her?
Yeah, showing her the ropes and stuff. You got Tim Burton going ahead. Go to Tim Burton. We want to see your version of Gotham in the future.
Hell yeah.
And then it would just be me and John sitting and be like, oh, so we have a whole other movie to cover now as well, where it's just like, he's back. Somehow in our lifetimes, he's back.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I want to see old man Keaton in a big old mech suit, you know, the Batman Beyond mech suit, stomping around a wintry future Gotham. That is what I want. We have to visualize it and make it a reality, Tim. Do it.
Especially because he's been so good lately. I mean, I say lately, this is a few years old now, but, you know, he did Birdman. Amazing. And even in Spider-Man, he was great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I just wonder now, though, like, who would Tim Burton's Barbara Gordon be? Like, nowadays? Because that would be like, oh, I guess, judging by his aesthetic, I'll be like Kristen Ritter, but then she's too old now because she's in her 30s. So it's like, I'm assuming they'll be going for, like, a teenager or, like, someone in their early 20s or thereabouts. So it's like, yeah, who would modern day Tim Burton cast in that role? Some like
hollow-eyed ingenue. He has to discover baby Christina Ricci, whoever that is.
Well, he was clearly gunning for who's the girl from the Alice movies?
Oh, Mia Wasikowska. Yeah.
He was clearly gunning for her, but she was like, no. I want to be like an art person. Like, I'm not doing this.
Oh, she's had a great career since those Alice movies.
Yeah.
Well, she's a wonderful actress for sure. But he needs like caricatures, you know. He needs like those sort of almost. If you see them in real life, you're like, wow, this is a crazy looking person. That's kind of what
in a good way.
In a great way, yeah. So
big features and things like that.
You just know, be like Eva Green's in there somewhere. He's just like, yeah, she's Barbara Gordon's mom or something. Or it's just Poison Ivy. Just like, yeah, I'm doing freaking my Poison Ivy.
If that rumored sequel to Beetlejuice ever comes out, I could see her having a part in that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Grown up Lydia. That would be cool.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Although I imagine there'll be an outcry if Winona didn't come back. It'll be
That's
like,
very true. That's very true. How can I even say such a thing? Please delete that I ever said that.
I didn't even think.
I'm so ashamed of myself.
Oh, and then in the minute here, actually getting back to this, Batman like looms over the Riddler, and he starts screaming horrifically. And you know, bats ain't gonna kill him, but we see the big monarch bat flying once again. Is Nigma seeing the bat? I mean, that's what the script seems to suggest.
I think it's like he every brainwave that he had stored, like in that green goo, whatever it was at the Enigma Tech party, everything that he ever had stuck in his head is just swirling around now. So yeah, he sees something in his eye that looks like a bat, and then I guess Bruce Wayne's all the trauma of seeing that bat has now thrust itself forward into his cerebral cortex, and he's experiencing Bruce Wayne's trauma as a child for the first time.
Holy crap! You know. I wish it drilled that home a bit more, though. I want to know for a fact that the Riddler is feeling Bruce's pain. Whereas it's a bit kind of wishy-washy and vague. Maybe they thought, well, kids won't get it. Just put a big bat in there, it's fine.
I think it is because it is all swirling around crazy crap. So it's just like whatever's going on inside him is just like, he'll see that for a second, and then he might see something else 2 seconds later. Like he's just completely gone.
I mean, I suppose he doesn't get that. So yeah, why should we, the viewer?
But I do love it though. It's one of those again, it's just a baffling movie, Batman Forever. And as much as like, I don't think there's any minute that I've really heavily criticized all that much. Like even when you get to the silly stuff, it's just like, yeah, I love this as well. Like this is like, and this really dark. Although that actually was one thing, as you know, in talking about all the people talking about, I'll release the Red Book edition and all this kind of thing. You can get, and you could look this up, Natasha, yourself, because it's very easily Googleable. If you type in the Google, just Batman Forever virtual work print. Someone has, like, back in 2011, put all the deleted scenes back in and woven... Right, yeah, and woven the Elliot Goldenthal score over everything. So you get all the scenes are back in order. You get the deleted opening. Again, we're going to be talking about in a second, friggin' Arkham Asylum. And the scores over it, it blends beautifully in. And my only beef with it is just like, the guy's gone a little too crazy with his personal edits. Because he's like...
I know what you're going to say, yeah.
Some of the things he takes out, I'll get drive-through. He takes out Chase Meridian saying, hot entrance, as soon as Batman shows up. He takes out the bat butt. He takes out all the silly stuff. And it's like...
We need bat butt. The people demand bat butt.
It's one of those things. It's like, by all means, put the latest stuff back in. But like, that's your decision then to go, Joel Schumacher didn't want, I'll get drive-through. It's like, no, that's his decision. Like, that's part of the movie's DNA to have that in there. So I was personally affronted.
I do find fan edits like that interesting and fascinating, and it's cool. But I really hate it when people are like, well, actually, it's the definitive one. It's like, shut up. No, it's not.
Yeah. But
it's not at all.
It's like all you had to do was just put the scenes back in. But it's now to go like, that bit's too silly. And it's like, I like that bit. Like, I know it's silly. I don't care that it's silly.
Yeah.
And
isn't he the guy who like color corrects it and makes everything darker looking?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No. Well, and you know, it's not their name at the end of the movie. It's Joel Schumacher. So, you know, show some respect.
Yeah. Although I should say, Natasha, I don't know, but I have recently leaked online my version of Imitation Girl. And I got rid of that
all
second...
the comedy back in.
I got rid of that second Lauren Ashley Carter performance. I was like, it's too much.
There's
much
just
of her
one.
in this.
One is
Yeah,
plenty.
now it's just... She's no longer an imitation, it's just girl.
It's just girl.
The only fan version of something I accept as definitive is the Star Wars despecialized
I was just
editions.
gonna say that. I was just gonna say that that's the only version that actually is the version, for sure.
Yeah. And I have Star Wars on Blu-ray. I have Disney Plus. Am I watching it on either of those? No. I'm putting on the despecialized ones that I have on my PC.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that guy, though, was just eventually, he was just like, you know what? I'm taking out the second Luke and Leia kiss in the one from Empire, because like, that's weird. It's like,
it's just too
can't
creepy.
do that!
It's just too creepy.
That's the thing. He doesn't screw with the film. That's important.
Mm. But someone who has been screwed with, though, is of course Edward Nygma, and he is. I just love these scenes, actually, because this is this is what Batman Forever at its essence should totally be. It's weird and it's cartoony and it's really warped, but it's also kind of dark underneath. So like when he sees that, you know, the flash of the bat and you get that boom on the soundtrack and he just goes into the complete shrieking, and it is kind of scary. It's like,
it's very scary. Yeah.
I really, really love this. It also brought to mind too, I think we mentioned way back earlier in the season, but like an episode of the Batman animated series that really messed me up was one of the Riddler ones called What is Reality, where he was holding Commissioner Gordon hostage in a virtual reality simulation. And there's a whole big thing at the end, kind of like the Lawnmower Man, basically. But like there was a race to get out in time because if you didn't get out of the simulation properly, you could be left brain dead. Right. And then they think like, okay, everything's okay. We found where the Riddler is. We'll go get him. And they come in, and he's just sitting there completely brain dead. And they're like, oh, well, I guess that finding his way out may be the riddle that Edward Nygma can never solve. And
So
you just got left there with like, yeah, that's a kid's cartoon. Just like, I guess that's the end of the Riddler.
Series, was not screwing around. That is very dark. I mean, I also think, what this moment always reminds me of is Scarecrow in the Nolan Batmans, right? Like, I think when he gets infected with his own serum, right? When he looks at the Batman, he sees this like terrifying bat creature, and I think this is a precursor to that. Of like, we finally see the effect that Batman wants, right? Which is that he is like this terrifying creature. Of course, that bat puppet is like pretty silly. But I think that's the purpose of it, and especially if they had kept in the deleted scenes where he like comes face to face with the bat, it takes on even more meaning, right? Because now we're seeing him fully claim his identity, and he is using fear as a tool, and that's what makes him so interesting. Is he's like super goth, he's like, this is who I am. I'm this scary motherfucker, and that's why I like it. I think it's really like a Batman embracing himself and his own ethos as not such a good guy. I mean, he's a good guy, but he uses fear as a tactic. So I think that's why I like it. Yeah, it's cool.
Well, that's a good. Again, throughout the entire show, we've always been saying like, oh, it looks like Nolan lifted this from that and stuff. But Batman Forever in particular, it's a lot of like Chris Nolan's taking a lot from Batman Forever. I didn't even call that what you said. That's exactly right. It could be that they're like, yeah, you remember that bit at the end of Batman Forever where like we could kind of do something like that, right? Where he's sprayed with a thing and then he sees a big bat monster. It's like, yeah, totally.
Well, it makes sense to me because we keep saying how there's the seeds here of an amazing film. So maybe he saw the same thing and he was like, right, if we just tweak some of this, we can turn it into something even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's even undertones of the Joker, of Nolan's Joker with Jim Carrey when he's kind of like bombing around the city, and he just has this sort of sheer like mad dog vibe to him. When I was rewatching the film, I think he pulls a driver out of the truck and he's like, I'm driving, and I just saw some of those, the little things that they're playing with very playfully, right? Like in this movie, it's very silly and goofy and like the 60s show, but then you see kind of how they're starting to go into the darker aspects that of course Nolan comes in and just, really makes the centerpiece of his trilogy. But I think it's all here for sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of darkness, though, we cut to something very, very dark, don't we? A wonderful model of Arkham Asylum.
Yeah. The thing is, though, like, yeah, it is one of those Camelot. It's only a model. But, like, yeah, it's totally a model. But, like, say what you will about the Schumacher movies. Because we see Arkham here, we see it in Batman and Robin. This is, like, perfect representation of what Arkham Asylum should look like. Like this is
I agree.
Yeah,
they just nailed it. This is the first time it's ever appeared on film because obviously they had the deleted scene at the beginning where it would have appeared, but now officially this is its first ever big screen debut, and it's just like that's that's exactly the way it should look. So,
and on top of that, I actually think looking at it, especially if you freeze frame it, this would totally fit in the world of Tim Burton.
Oh
yes. Yeah. The tree, the gate, all of it. I totally agree.
It looks like a comic book still or something, like a panel.
Yeah. I think that's why, not to jump the gun too much, but I think that's why Dr. Burton That's why he's the reference in there, is because like this is the most Tim Burton-y location we have. So if you're gonna do a nod to him, he is the keeper of the asylum, I guess. That would be the...
Although I love that he's a doctor, right? He looks crazy, right? He looks bonkers.
I was just gonna
this
say,
man is a doctor.
How come they do our man Tim Burton like this? Like, this man has not combed his hair. His glasses don't fit. Like, come on, his bow tie is too big. Show Tim a little more respect.
I love the way it is like Tim's hair, but it's kind of like someone doing a really cheap, crappy Halloween costume version of Tim Burton.
It's kind of like, you imagine Tim Burton seeing this and be like, I get you got the hair, but like I don't wear like little old lady glasses though. Like what's he got the string and the glasses for? Like where's all this coming from? I don't wear a chevron bow tie.
He's played by an amazing actor though.
Oh
yes.
Right, I am terrible at pronouncing his name. Is it Rene? Is it Aubergenois?
I believe so.
Oh yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. Rene.
I am obsessed with him. You know, Star Trek and whatnot, but this is going to sound weird to people because everyone assumes probably, oh yeah, you love him from Star Trek. I really love him from Boston Legal.
Oh yeah, of course.
Boston Legal is one of the most underrated things that's ever existed.
Again though, he was. I think it was like the week we started recording, he died. Like,
yes, he passed last year.
But it's just a weirdly ironic thing. It's like, start of the season, Renee dies. End of the season, Joel Schumacher dies. It's like,
Christ.
Yeah. Well, all these guys, they were fully grown when they were doing this, and it was a long time ago, so...
Yeah.
Way to make us feel old.
He's such a special actor, and he's just... it's a small part, but it's just so cool that he's in it, and he gets to play Tim. I think it's really special.
I wish he could have come back in the next one.
I kind of wish they kept that up as a tradition in Batman movies, though, where it was like, within each franchise, you have to have like an iteration of the previous franchise's director. So like, they have Dr. Burton here, and then like in the Chris Nolan, like in Batman Begins, there's
Mr. Schumacher.
Like, and then keeping it in with what Joel Schumacher, was it like 20,000 sexual partners he's supposed to have had? Like, have it at the Wayne Manor party. Like, Alfred walks in to like a full blown orgy happening, and it's just like, do you have everything you need, Mr. Schumacher? Like, oh, Alfred, thank you so much for getting on just great here. It's just a guy comes in with like a gray ponytail. It's like, oh, it's Joel Schumacher.
I love that idea.
Yeah, the Matt Reeves Batman. You have some guy like cutting a really buff statue of Jesus, and it's like, oh, that's Mr. Snyder over there. he's the model maker.
Yes. Oh, why wouldn't you do that?
Wow, that's some shade.
Yeah,
you are allowed to have fun in movies, though, people. Please remember this.
But
it's true.
Well, they're currently on hiatus, so it's like, Matt Reeves, if you're out there, you can have that idea for free.
Yeah, and we all know Matt Reeves listens to this show every single episode, right?
He should. He should. It would help. It would help the Batman, I think, for sure.
Let's message him and say, look, we'll do a minute by minute of your movie if you put it on the Blu-ray.
But should mention though as well, but the fact that because we don't want to get in too many details about Arkham Asylum as it is, like gothic nightmare as it's presented, because we do spend a lot of time here in the next movie, so we don't want to blow all our notes. But I did think it was relevant to bring up Arkham's first appearance in the comics. Because they almost got a nice little through line in there. Almost. They're so close. Because it was, funny enough, created by another recently deceased, Batman Titan. Denny O'Neil actually invented Arkham Asylum, or Arkham Hospital, it was originally called. And it actually only popped up in October 1974 for the first time. You kind of think it's one of those things that must have been there from the beginning. It's like, no, it's like quite well into like 40 odd years into the run, I guess. Would be, well, not 40 years, but 35 years or so into Batman being a thing.
That's so surprising. It feels so sort of like integral to the whole world of Gotham. I'm really surprised.
I guess it's like only 21 years old as a concept when this comes out. So, but yeah, it was first appeared in Batman 258. And the story was The Threat of the Two-Headed Coin. And its feature is, it appears at the beginning of the story when Two-Face is escaping from Arkham. So if they had a beginning of this movie where the first time you ever see Arkham Asylum on screen is Two-Face escaping from Arkham, it would have been a nice little parallel there.
What a shame. What a shame.
Yeah. That's a goddamn shame they took that out now. It's just like, you're so close. But, yeah. That's like most of Batman Forever, though. It's just like, you're so close to having something really, really like amazing here. And you just sort of like, kind of filter it out a little bit.
Yeah.
And we find out here that Nigma has been ranting and raving about some kind of a secret. But we don't find out what that is yet. We're going to have to wait till Wednesday.
Yeah. So, I guess I'm noted out. Well, all the notes I could, to stay in this location for the rest of the week. So
Exactly. But Niall, you're forgetting something.
Yeah.
Do you have a riddle?
I do, Natasha. There's one for you. Because this season, much to celebrate the fact that it's Batman Forever, we pose a riddle to the guests. So this one was a little quick riddle. This is, riddle me this. How is a man in debt like a morning mist?
I don't know.
Keep in mind, I also don't know this. He doesn't tell me, so I have to go.
How is a man in debt like a morning mist?
Yeah.
I feel like Edward Nigma would have killed us by now.
Yeah, I don't think we'd get this much of a chance.
No. A man in debt.
I hate every one of these.
I mean, I'm trying to think about something about like thin pockets, but I don't think that's the right direction.
No.
What is it?
We'll leave it till Friday, because then people in the listeners' cave can speculate.
That's right.
We'll mull it over as well, and hopefully we'll get it.
All right.
But for now, we will head off into the dark, dark night. Natasha, would you like to tell people where you and your work can be found online? Or promote anything you like?
Yeah, so we have a new film called Lucky, starring Bria Grant. We were supposed to premiere at South by Southwest this year, but instead we'll be playing Fantasia's virtual film festival, and then a few more virtually later this year. So, keep an eye out for Lucky, the movie.
I do have to ask, because every time, since I've seen it pop up on social media, and I have to ask if this song features in the movie at all. Because every time I see the title Lucky, I keep thinking of Britney Spears' Lucky.
Yes!
I've
been singing that in my head.
It's so funny because
She's
I really tried to, it was like, okay, what if it's just 5 seconds? She like turns on the car and it's on the radio.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, for a little indie movie, it just wasn't in the cards. But
No.
I can imagine Britney Spears is quite a pricey
It's
acquisition.
a little outside of our budget, but once we can go back to karaoke, don't worry, it'll be definitely one of our karaoke staples. So.
Well, I just want to say #free Britney Spears, and if you don't know what that is, go and look it up, everybody. She's tightly locked down in crazy contracts where she's not allowed to live her own life.
The last couple of weeks, actually, it's been amping up again. It's like, it's kind of it's creepy to see it happen. It's like, I think it seems as if she's in trouble, but she can't say anything. It's like, should people be doing something,
weird.
or what can we, the public, do for you, Brittany? But
That's the question.
Well, we're going to do all we can here on Bat Minute, the biggest supporters in the world of Britney Spears. And we will be back on Wednesday for more Bat Minutes, but do come and speak to us on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave. And we're on Twitter, Instagram, all of that. But most importantly, Patreon. For just a couple of dollars a month, you get loads of wonderful, wonderful content. And Niall, as of recording, I'm thinking of merging... So people don't specify if they want the Bat Minute stuff or the Hedvig stuff. I'm just going to put it all in one for $2.
Yeah.
Because then people just get constant streams of stuff for $2. That's amazing.
I should also mention just the other day as well, John. I don't know if you saw it, though, because it's part of a monolithic group chat that we're both in.
I ignore that group chat.
But someone, frequent guest of the show, Sean German, said yesterday, apparently he got complimented on his Bat Minute t-shirt just the other day. And he plugged the show for us. So thank you, Sean. Thank you for buying the t-shirt in the first place, actually. But
yeah. Hell yeah. Well, go and get the t-shirts, everybody. Or a mask, which is quite relevant as of recording, but probably won't be in about 2 years' time when you listen to this.
Well, but let's hope.
Let's hope. And we will see you again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute Forever.
Next time The conclusion of Carrie. A lunatic loser, Lou-Hoo Zahar, languishes in a cell, but is bid a visit by a bombshell belle. But while Chase consults on the case of the caged king of conundrums knowing the Batman's true face, could it be that the cardinal of criminal quandaries has one final ace, Ventura, or has his cerebrum full of secrets been flushed out his amygdala? Find out Wednesday. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.